Hello everyone, this is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Introduction to Microeconomics at Ozarka College. This morning what I'm going to do is give you a little bit of feedback on the chapters 10 and 11 activities and the midterm exam, which we're all due this week. And then I'm going to tell you what we've got coming up due for chapters 12 and 13 activities. All right? So the first thing is, like I said, I did finish grading the chapters 10 and 11 activities earlier this week. Hopefully you've already gone in and looked at your grades for those activities and read the grading comments. If you haven't done that yet, go ahead and do that as soon as you can. And let me know if you have any questions. Most of you did well on those activities, so keep up the good work on that. The midterm exam closed last night. And most of you did well on that, and I really appreciate the time and effort that you're putting in, so keep up the good work on that as well. Now, I did open up the midterm exam for review purposes, so you can go back in and look at the questions that you missed, and let me know if you have any questions about that. And also, it allows you to study those concepts for the final exam, which we'll take at the very end of the semester, okay? So just let me know if you have questions about that. All right, and then what we've got coming up due next, if you'll notice on the activities page, right now we're at the end of week 8 of the semester, and we don't have anything due next week, although I have included a review video for chapters 10 and 11 assignment. There were like 2 or 3 of the questions on the assignment that a few of you had problems with. And so because of that, I created a video earlier this week that kind of talked about those particular assignment questions and what the correct answers should have been, and how to get those, how to calculate those particular problems that some of you struggled with on the assignment. So even if you got all the points for the assignment, I would like you to go in and watch that video because it will be beneficial for you to see what all the correct answers should be and the correct way of or method of calculating all of those values for the assignment questions, okay? So just let me know if you have questions about that after you watch the video. Now, like I said, there's nothing really due next week, but there is work due the following week. So our next set of chapter activities for chapters 12 and 13 will be due by Wednesday, October 22nd. So you've got about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks actually, to be working on chapters 12 and 13 activities. They will take some time to complete, so that's why I'm giving you, over a week to get these done. So, don't wait until the week that they're due to get started. Go ahead and be working on them now and next week, and that way you give yourself plenty of time, and that also gives you time to ask me questions if you run into any issues as you're working on the activities. So you've got the chapters 12 and 13 assignment, test, and discussion all due by Wednesday, October 22nd. All right? Now, chapter 12 deals with economic regulation and antitrust policy. All right? And we've kind of talked about this just in general terms in earlier chapters, but in this chapter, we're really going to get into some detail in talking about the different types of economic regulation or government regulation. We're going to look at specifically how government regulates natural monopolies, and also some various types of antitrust law and how government enforces those laws. And then towards the end of the chapter, we'll look at mergers and public policy. All right? And then chapter 13 deals with externalities. And we talked about externalities earlier in the semester, just like I said, in general terms. But in this chapter, we're really going to get into some depth in talking about externalities, specifically both positive and negative externalities. And remember, an externality is simply a impact that a economic transaction has on third parties. In other words, some party outside of the two parties that are part of the transaction. All right? And so anytime there's a transaction and there's externalities, so that externality can either be a positive externality that benefits others, or it can be a negative externality like pollution that hurts us. Okay, and so part of the government's responsibilities in managing the economy is to promote as much as possible those positive externalities, like the public education system, and then reduce the impact as much as possible for the negative externalities like pollution. All right? So chapter 13 will go in and talk about those two categories of externalities and how government deals with those externalities. And you'll also learn about a term called welfare economics, which is tied to externalities. You'll also learn about public policies related to externalities. And then finally, at the very end of chapter 13, you'll learn about a theory that pertains to externalities and the best way to deal with externalities, called the Coase theorem. Okay? And so that's chapters 12 and 13. So be working on those activities. Again, get started as early as you can. And remember the resources you have available to you on the assignment page. All right? And then the only other thing I need to tell you about today is I did post midterm grades this morning. So go in and look at your midterm grade as soon as you can today. And let me know if you have any questions about it. It should be what you expected, but if it's not what you expected, just let me know, and I'll be glad to look at it for you. And that's really all I have for you for today. So enjoy your weekend, enjoy your next week, and I will talk to you next time. Thank you.